Yes, we do. Enoch Drebber, talk to us. We're in the process of trying to track somebody down. Oh? Yes. Oh, here's the Book of Many Things. A man by the name of Enoch Drebber. He's the swindler who duped Professor Harebrain and the engineer who built the Kinesis machine. A swindler and an engineer. Quite the modern man. He also seems to be a conjurer of sorts too, with considerable knowledge of stage magic. We really need to locate him before the trial resumes tomorrow, but we have so few clues to go on. That's the trouble. Do you have any good ideas? I have no data yet. It is a capital mistake to have good ideas before one has data. If I knew something of the man's appearance, at least, I may be in a better position to help. Yes, Drebber's appearance. Fortunately for you, however, presently I have little to occupy myself and little to fill my stomach. So as soon as you find any clue, no matter how small, I should gladly give you my thoughts on it. Yeah, Casimir, by the way, you lied to us, dude. What the fuck? Mr. Sholmes, did you lie to us? My dear Mr. Naruhodo, stay that piercing stare. What is this about? Last winter, when we were first on our way to Britain aboard the steamship, your words were very clear. So then, let us unravel this mystery and discover what events led to this curious murder. You told us it was murder, and you examined Casimir's body. Indeed, and wherein lies the problem? We met him earlier today, the victim, Casimir Asogi. You're quite sure? He was wearing some sort of mask and was apparently suffering from amnesia, but yes, I'm quite sure. It was Casimir-sama. You must have known at the time, Mr. Sholmes, that he wasn't actually dead. Well, I can only assume I was swept up in the murderous atmosphere of the moment. But the fellow wasn't dead at all. Priceless. I don't suppose that performance would pass muster, would it, Mr. Naruhodo? I could believe that the crewman present at the time made a mistake, but not you, Mr. Sholmes. I will now tell you something of the first importance, my dear fellow. Great detectives are wont to lie. It would serve you well to remember that. Please, Mr. Sholmes. Tomorrow in court you will find yourself on the threshold of a very great mystery. But now, I'm afraid, that is all I can say. So he does know something. Alright, oh, no, we want to present the picture. Actually, let's show him the cage, see if he has anything to offer on this. Odie Asman, yes, a fearsome adversary. What? You mean you fought him? I once infiltrated his criminal organization in order to investigate the man and his activities, but he saw through my disguise instantly. I still remember what the man said to me now. What was it? Whoever saw such a tall old lady? Old lady? Indeed, but my special disguise hasn't seen the light of day since that humiliation. Miss Minicle is retired. Miss Minicle? I would give my right arm to see that. The balloon. Mr. Sholmes, about this. As you will see, I'm rather busy at the moment. If it's advice you seek, come to my office tomorrow and I shall be happy to help you. Shall we say threepence per item as consultation fee? That's 2 hours of gas, that is. I think we've shown him everything else, so let's show him the photo of Drebber. Mr. Sholmes, would you cast your eyes over the photographic print? It's of Mr. Enoch Drebber, the face of the engineer we seek. Well, all Englishmen look broadly the same, of course, though looking at the photograph won't be particularly instructive. Are you all right, Mr. Sholmes? Ah, yes, forgive me. Very interesting, this. Very interesting indeed. What's wrong, Mr. Sholmes? You've turned quite pale all of a sudden. I have a suggestion, Mr. Naruhodo. Will you indulge me? Oh well, what is it? As I explained to you when you arrived, the missing waxwork has been returned, and I personally installed it in the exhibit from which it was taken behind those thick curtains. Oh yes, the Professor exhibit, isn't it? Would you like to see it for a mere 5 shillings? That's a special, one-time only price, you understand. What? Grifter, you. The opportunity won't come again, I might add. Would you like to see the fruits of my labour? Oh, well, we do have a rather pressing investigation to carry out. Perhaps we could postpone? The price is a very reasonable 5 shillings. I think you'll find it's well worth it. Are you being quite serious, Mr. Sholmes? Surely you need only look at the expression to ascertain if there's seriousness or silliness. I can never tell with you, that's the point. Very well, it couldn't hurt. Here's your 5 shillings. Gratefully received. So, the special exhibition awaits behind the curtain. I invite you to peruse it at your leisure. Well, the money's been spent, so let's go have a look at the special exhibit. It's gonna look like him, isn't it? It's gonna look like Enoch Drebber. I can feel it. I don't think it's gonna look like Odie Asman now, because otherwise Sholmes would have said something earlier. If he knew what Odie Asman looked like, he would have known. He would have just come straight up to us and told us. So this is gonna look like Drebber, which is gonna be equally weird and interesting. Through the heavy curtains at last. $5 shillings we've had to pay. It doesn't seem right somehow that Mr. Sholmes slipped the money into his own pocket, does it? No. Ah, we could ask Gina to retrieve it for us using her special skills. Yes. Pickpocketing police officers and diddling detectives. Is this what makes Britain great? Not to mention demigod prosecutors taking the law into their own hands, or chip-loving inspectors with an enchanted bag of fish and chips that just keeps replenishing. Inspector Gregson comes off rather well in that list, I think. Actually, yeah. He's alright. This is why it's mostly solved. The head is missing from the number 139. Dear, I felt a shiver run down my spine as soon as I walked in here. Miss Susato! I say we turn on our heels and go straight home via the really big confectionery. We certainly can't do that. We've paid 5 shillings already. True. So we're missing a head. Actually, now I'm looking at it a little more closely. We've paid good money to see an exhibit that's clearly incomplete. The nerve of the great diddling detective is far more terrifying than anything else in this place. This must be what Mr. Sholmes meant when he said the case was largely solved. Be that as it may, Mr. Sholmes heavily implied there'd be a clue about the engineer in here, didn't he? But where? Since we paid 5 shillings, let's do 5 shillings worth of investigating, shall we? Yes, we'll get what we paid for. That fear or frustration that's making Susato-san's voice tremble. Alright, so this must be the killer, the fiend known as the Professor. Yes, I think so, according to what Madame Tespel said. He killed 5 victims, all of noble or royal blood. The waxwork is so lifelike, isn't it? Apart from the head. Like all the models in this place. I know, it looks like it could start moving at any moment, doesn't it? If only he had his head, that is. Perhaps we should examine it in a little more detail. What the number 139 is supposed to mean. So, did this guy hide in this tomb and in this in this grave and then pop out and kill a guy? This is the condemned man, the so-called professor. Then perhaps his head was chopped off by a guillotine? But unable to find peace, he emerged from his grave as a headless ghost? Do we have to entertain such terrifying ideas, Miss Susato? Especially ones that make me want to go and watch Sleepy Hollow. Anyway, I'm sure the model had a head once. There's a metal fitting for it, see? Then perhaps Mr. Sholmes absent-mindedly forgot to reattach it? That's an extremely absent-minded detective you're describing, isn't it? Or perhaps Thief absent-mindedly forgot to include the head when he or she returned it to the museum. That would be an extremely absent-minded thief. Either way, people need to fucking pick their brains up. Could there have been some reason why only the head wasn't returned? Whatever the reason, it means we don't know what the face of the infamous professor looks like, do we? Damn. Oh. There's something caught inside the convict's jacket here. A piece of broken glass, and quite a big piece too. It's very thick, isn't it? About 5 times thicker than a normal window glass, I'd say. Looks like a piece of the Crystal Tower. Where could such a thick piece of glass have come from, I wonder? It must have been made thick to increase its strength. But why? Well, perhaps because the glass had to span a particularly wide area, such as a big building, for example. Ah, well, we've seen large glass buildings recently, haven't we? And some of the glass was broken. You don't mean exactly the Crystal Tower at the Great Exhibition? Why would glass from the Crystal Tower be lodged inside the Waxworks jacket? It makes you think, doesn't it? New theory. The waxwork model was inside the balloon. The real Odie Asman was inside the cage on the stage. The cage dropped down into a compartment below the stage when all the steam went up and when Drebber shot down the balloon. And Odie Asman's doppelganger fell into the Crystal Tower. The waxwork body was the body, and maybe a new head had been placed there to look like Odie Asman. And the stab wound in the chest wasn't real. Yeah? That's a possibility. But then we'd see the stab wound in this fake body, wouldn't we? But what I'm thinking is Odie Asman was killed under the stage. Drebber could have been in there waiting for him and then stabbed him. And then somehow swapped the bodies over. That could have been a thing. So at some point, that Odie Asman had to then be taken up to the Crystal Tower in the middle of all that carnage. What if there was an underground tunnel that let him get in and up and around? Either way, this is the body that crashed into the Crystal Tower. It must be. The evidence tells us that. Which means it wasn't the real Odie Asman. It was this waxwork. I don't know why this particular one. Maybe because the guy did look like Odie Asman. We could still be on that track. Earlier in court, we established that Kinesis experiment was a trick, and now we discover the fragment of glass here in the waxwork. Is it just a coincidence? Nope. There are no such things as coincidences. This part of the exhibit is just as disturbing as the rest. It looks so real. It seems to be a young man in a white overcoat. And he has a large shovel in his hand too, look. He's a grave robber. Maybe a medical student robbing graves? Perhaps we should investigate a little more detail. That was a thing that happened. You know that this is going to be Drebber, right? That's what we're going to see when we look around. Oh, there's a camera. There's a plus button. This is gonna be Drebber. I can feel it. That's quite a large lamp the man's carrying. Or is it a lantern? It's not unlike a Japanese chokin paper lantern, is it? Lamp, lantern, choshin, I don't know. The point is it casts very little light. To be walking alone in a graveyard at night with only this, well, I certainly wouldn't do it. I'm not sure I could visit a graveyard at all, even in broad daylight, to be honest. God, Ryu, you are such... Oh my god. Such a wuss. What's this here? Well, it would appear to be a lens in the middle, so I believe it's probably a camera. A camera, but it's so small. British technology is incredible, isn't it? I mean, what about Mr. Sholmes' skin prints? I think perhaps you should treat Mr. Sholmes' inventions as exceptions to the rule. But anyway, why would the man be in a graveyard at night with a camera? I wonder. Perhaps he was trying to capture the moment a dead body came back as a ghost on film? We'll just borrow this for a little while, I think. By looking at the photographic plate inside of the camera, we can see what picture was taken. Well, I mean, this is just an exhibit. This doesn't mean to say that this was really a camera used by someone. This is just a prop, right? But what's a photographic plate? It's a piece of glass coated in a special emulsion that reacts to light coming through the lens. If we open the cover at the back of the camera, we should find it. Let's have a look. You should see yourself, Sosato-san. Your eyes are shining. You really do like machinery, don't you? I mean, it's obviously him. I can't see the face very well, can you? Perhaps if I just... Oh! Do you think you should be manhandling the exhibit, Mr. Naruhodo? I'll put it back exactly as it was, don't worry. And just drag it outside. Ta-da! Rubber. Ah! What on earth? How can... I don't believe it. A black monocle! Mr. Naruhodo, is it possible this man is... Yes. Okdreba. The colour of the hair is different. Well, that's because whatever incident this was in his past, it scared him so much his hair turned white. It's unmistakably him. Indeed it is. Mr. Sholmes! This man is the subject of your present hunt, I believe. Yes, that's right. Just who is this man? Why is he here in this exhibit? And why does the convict behind him have no head? The head was missing when the model was returned by the thief who stole it. What a surprise. So then the case isn't solved yet, is it? Did I not say so myself? Largely solved were my words, I believe. But I must locate the missing head. Toot sweet, as Madam would say, or I'll be in grave trouble. A very hungry Iris still awaits my return at Baker Street, preferably with rations. Ah. Just thinking. So, I wonder if the Professor and Odie Asman were related, and they look exactly alike. Maybe it was his father, or his older brother, or something. And I wonder if Enoch Drebber might have been from a noble family that was destined to be one of his, one of his next victims, and instead he hit the guy and killed him or something, or was responsible for his capture in some way. But this whole incident scared him shitless. He may have lended his likeness then to Madame Tuspells for this exhibition, but maybe when he fell in line with Odie Asman, he probably realized, this guy, is the brother or whatever, or relative of the Professor, and he must kill him for revenge because of whatever happened to him. Or maybe this guy, who looks like Drebber, is, again, a relative. It could be a case of one relative killed another, a twin brother or something. A twin brother killed another twin brother. I don't know. It could be. That would be a hell of a twist. That's the kind of twist that these games go through. Do you know, though, something about this room is strange. Strange? What do you mean? Well, the displays in the House of Horrors are supposed to depict real-life events, are they not? Indeed they are, Mr. Sato. Do go on. And as terrifying as they are, the scenes in the other exhibits are believable. But this one... this surely couldn't ever really have happened, could it? I think it's time I educate you a little about the nature of the incidents involving the Professor 10 years ago. I believe I told you a little about the Professor yesterday, did I not? He took the lives of 5 victims, everyone being either a member of the aristocracy or royalty. All were attacked by an enormous hunting hound. Oh my god, this is gonna be Baskerville, isn't it? This is gonna tie into Baskerville. A hound. All were attacked by an enormous hunting hound and had their throats ripped from their bodies. Oh gosh, an enormous hound. Awful. After taking the life of his 5th victim, the killer was apprehended. It was a case of unprecedented magnitude in Britain, you understand. Accordingly, the Professor was tried in a closed court. No members of the public were permitted. A closed court? You mean that the Professor's identity... As you've surmised, my dear fellow, his identity was never made public. Naturally, he was found guilty and was summarily sentenced to death by hanging. He was buried in a grave at Lowgate Cemetery, which adjoins the rear of the prison where he had been held. That's why he's in an inmate's outfit. However, that was not the end of the affair. Let me guess, he resurrected because he wasn't really killed, it was faked. Could be like the Sherlock Holmes movie. They put him on harnesses or something, and instead of hanging him, it just supported him. The very night that he was buried, the convicted man came back to life. Came back to life? He clawed his way out of the ground and emerged into the moonlit graveyard. The exhibit here depicts that very scene, as described by the sole witness to those chilling events. There was a witness? But of course, my dear fellow. It was none other than... the young man with the white overcoat. Enoch Drebber. He saw it happen. Tell us more about him. So this is a waxwork model of Enoch Drebber. 10 years ago, the convicted professor, having been gibbeted and buried, emerged from this grave in the dead of night. The sole witness to that unimaginable scene was this young man. From appearances, I would say he was about 20 years old. It's so horrifying. Scared out of his wits, the young Drebber ran to a nearby police station to report the incident. And the sheer terror of what they'd seen is said to have turned his hair white overnight. As shown in the photograph we have of his hair is completely white. For the following few days, the story of what he'd seen was on every front page of the Capitol. The public was frantic for every last detail about the killer who'd come back to life. As you've seen, an exhibit was created here at Madame Tuspell's. So did they never find the body? I can't quite understand why the man's hair turned white, certainly, but what I don't understand is what Mr. Drebber was doing there in the first place. In a lonely graveyard in the middle of the night with a shovel and a camera. Yes, what was he up to? The Professor's acts of terror threw London's upper classes into complete panic 10 years ago. It was a great scandal, one might say, at the very highest levels of society. And since the killer's identity was never made public, rumours abounded. After all, no killer had ever before systematically employed a dog as a weapon of murder. Yes, I can imagine the impact the case must have had. But in time, of course, the rumours abated. So too did talk of the shocking witness accounts of the convict who came back to life. It was forgotten, dismissed as dubious ghost stories, as preposterous as a preposterous parlour tale. But why did people stop believing it? Why? Simply because there was no resurrection to speak of, as was established in fact. What do you mean by no resurrection? The police investigated the grave in Lowgate Cemetery and published their findings. The convict's body was found to be buried exactly where it had been following the execution. No! That would mean Mr. Drebber must have lied to the police and the newspapers? That would appear to be the only logical explanation, yes. The young man subsequently vanished from society, and nothing has been heard of him since. It's rather striking then that he should resurface now, don't you think? Of course, the convicted murderer couldn't really have come back to life, that's not possible. But Mr. Drebber's hair is usually white, unusually white. And if that really did happen overnight as a result of shock, it's hard to believe the incident was an out-and-out lie. Ah! Oh, God, hello. What the bleeding Nora, Odo? What have you gone and done? Gina, what are you doing here? Oh shit, she's armed. I asked Iris, and she said this is where you'd be, so... So? Oh God, Gina, what the hell? Not so loud in a museum. Madame Tuspels will have you take a position as a waxwork if you're not careful. I think there might be more pressing concerns, like firing smoke grenades in a wax museum. I still had some flash powder left from 6 months ago, so... Ah, alright Gina, we understand, but please, put down the gun. What's she all pissed about? Sorry, I got scared. You should try being the one on the other end of the barrel. So what brings you here, Gina? What brings me here? What do you think? We found it. We found that dodgy cove's workshop. What? You found Drebber's workshop? Yep. Toby's nose took me straight there. The boss and the others are heading over there now in a drag, so come on. Here's the address. I got the boss to write it out. Oh, thank you, Gina. We'll make our way there at once. Alright then, see you there. Well then. You go. Don't mind me. I'll just stay here, being still. What? I know my place. In the exhibit over there. Wow. Oh dear, someone's feeling sorry for himself. We're gonna go and crack a really cool case and he can't come with us. Let's go, Mr. Sholmes, you're coming too. Your words hearten me, I must say, but if I were to shirk my duties here, Madame would have me pay monetary recompense and Iris's dinner plate would be empty. Forget that, I'll pay for everything. Then there's not a moment to lose, my dear fellow. I shall hail a carriage at once. No offer to share the cost from Mr. Sholmes, then. He has nothing to share with. The dude is skint. I shall gladly pay half, Mr. Naruhodo. Thank you, Miss Susato. Right, let's go. This is getting really interesting. Oh, here we go. Look, a mock-up of the cannon thing. Do you see that below me? There's a quiver of arrows down there. Interesting! That looks like... it's another super high voltage instantaneous kinesis machine. Indeed, it would appear so, though only a prototype naturally. Ah, so you got here then. Gina! Well done for finding this place, and in such little time. You've really worked miracles. It's Toby here who's the miracle worker. Woof. Ah, I thought you lot would show up before long. Hello, Inspector. It's a knitted brow if I ever saw one. Looks like he's eating a lemon, not a bag of fish and chips. So, Inspector, is there any sign of the engineer? Sadly not. We didn't find a soul here. Oh, what a shame. Well, thank you for letting us know about the place and giving us a chance to investigate. According to what Gina tells me, we only found it thanks to a clue you lot turned up. I wouldn't want to say go to Paris with a debt of gratitude unpaid now, would I? Well, thank you. Anyway, if you're open to snoop around in here, I'd get cracking. Lord Van Zykes and the forensics investigation team are on their way here as we speak. Them again. I imagine you've got the picture by now. They don't take too kindly to lawyer types. Right, yeah, especially those that poke around the office of the person in charge. So then, my dear fellow, let's turn this place upside down while we still have the chance. And you, Sholmes. Pardon? They take even less kindly to great detectives than they do lawyers. Very droll, Gregson, very droll. But you may consider me nothing more than an inconspicuous waxwork model. Right. Let's see what we can find here. So the obvious thing would be that, but let's not click on the obvious. What's this trophy all about? Ah, this appears to be most interesting. Yes, most interesting indeed, wouldn't you say? It's an impressive looking back massager, that's for sure. I've no doubt that if you hit your shoulders a few times with that, your aches and pains would soon go away. It's a Royal Society Trophy for Excellence in Science. A young scientist would wish for no higher honor. So how would this guy have it? Because according to the guy who is the Society's, like, one of their senior members who's on the jury, they don't like this guy at all. They all know about him. Would you like a massage? No, I'm fine, thank you. I had no idea it was such a grand thing. I think it's becoming increasingly clear that there's much more to this Mr. Enoch Drebber than conjuring tricks. I couldn't agree more, my dear madam. How about you, Mr. Naruhodo? Wouldn't you like to take it with you? For your tired shoulders, of course. He's not going to let that go, is he? It's curious, though, isn't it? You wouldn't expect such an important trophy to be proudly displayed somewhere, not haphazardly cast aside. English gentlemen can be quite a mystery at times. We never did look at any of those other clues either, did we? We have a whole bunch of stuff. There's the piece of broken glass. But this piece of glass is almost as thick as it is wide. I've never seen anything like it. If you were to compare it to a human, only Mr. Sholmes has such thick skin. There's really no need for such a comparison, Mr. Naruhodo, as you well know. Anyway, it can only be from the Crystal Tower, surely. Yes, I think so too. It was probably made especially to meet the demands of the great structure. There's blood on the camera. What a wonderful machine. You really love contraptions like this, don't you? Oh yes, anything mechanical I find absolutely irresistible. Almost irresistible, surely? Well, whenever I see a pocket watch, for example, I can't help myself. I simply have to take it apart. That's worrying. Don't do that with Lord Stronghearts. Yes, Father tells me by the time the rumblings of his stomach now, he's given up for having a watch. Well, Professor Mikotoba. Look, Mr. Naruhodo. What is it? On the bellows, just here, there seems to be a very dark red stain. Yes, you're right. It looks like blood, actually. Oh my. I'm sure it's not what you're thinking. We open up the back plate, we can see what was taken. Oh look, the cover came open. Yes, now there should be a glass plate inside. You have to change the plate with each new photograph you want to take, you see. Is something wrong? There's no plate. It's been removed. Ah, what a pity. I suppose if you think about it, this wouldn't be the actual camera that was used at the time, just like the waxwork isn't the actual person. We'd have never found a photographic print of the executed convict coming back to life anyway. Oh yes, you're quite right, of course. Poor Susato-san, she looks devastated. I mean, yeah, this was just going to be a prop. But I wonder what the blood's all about. And does it say who this is to? A little metal plaque here, look. Fostering burgeoning talent for the future of scientific discovery. Seems rather ironic, doesn't it? Clearly Mr. Drebber really was a very talented scientist. I mean, he may very well be. That doesn't mean to say that he's not open to some con job. But there seems to be nothing else on there. What on earth is this? It's an aeroplane, Mr. Naruhodo. One day, scientists believe it will allow humans to fly freely in the skies. Is that how the trick will be described, is it? Sorry? Well, it's actually suspended by a thin but very strong cable, isn't it? Oh, well, this model is, yes, but the real aeroplane would actually fly high in the sky. While suspended from somewhere even higher in the sky, of course? Because large metal objects obviously can't stay in the mid-air unsupported. So, to you, the solution is even taller towers. Yeah, they swing around like Spider-Man on strings. And here, tools. I'm sorry, Mr. Naruhodo, that machine is covered by the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act. There would be serious repercussions if you were to examine it from the Crown and the government. Meanwhile, everyone else is poking away at it. Well, those two don't seem to be holding back. It's quite hollow inside. No working parts or devices of description to be seen, my dear fellow. No loose chains dropped on the floor, and nothing. Not even a bone for Toby here, my dear fellow. British people are very much ruled by their own ideals, aren't they? I think that's just these two, Miss Susato. So there's the quiver of arrows. This is a European-style quiver of arrows with steel bolts inside. Oh, you suppose... crossbow bolts, these. And just the right size for the bow you lot turned up at the exhibition grounds. In other words... Yep, there's more evidence to support your theory. It all goes to show that Drebber was the one pulling the strings behind the scenes of the whole scam. Nice. This door doesn't want to open. Yeah, looks like it's got a pretty hefty lock on it. There's a specialist locksmith on his way from the yard, so hands off till he gets here. With permission, Inspector, I could have that lock open in less than a minute. Well, you don't have permission, and no one's giving it to you. Gregson looked as though he really enjoyed that. Well, there's no sound of anybody on the other side, because of course, if somebody were hiding there from the police that have just raided the place, they would be walking around making a lot of noise, not sitting quietly. No, Drebber must have fled at the first sign of danger. Or not. Thud, thud, thud. Oh! Is something wrong, Miss Susato? Well, I thought I heard a noise from the far side of the door. Well, Gina, do you hear it too? Yeah, I heard it and all. What do you reckon, Toby? Right, mind the grease. Whoever's in there, open up. This is Scotland Yard. Oh my, someone is in there, and they just ran away. This rotten bleeding lock. My dear Gregson, as I said only minutes ago. If only it were countenanced, I could unlock that door in less than a minute. I think you need to now. This is a pursuit of a suspect. Fine, I'll take the rap for it. Just get us through the blasted door. There. You may enter at will. You've confused minutes with seconds, I think. Time is of the essence, I feel. What are we waiting for? Nothing for it, I suppose. This is an emergency. There's a strong possibility that beyond that door is the engineer you all seek. Be prepared for action, my dear fellows. Yes, I have a sword, and I'm not afraid to use it. Bomb! 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 Guys, bomb. What's happened in here? A green balloon! Footprints on the roof. What the f is going on in this place? Why is everything upside down? Yeah, that's a good point as well. Everything's upside down. The guy working on anti-gravity. Rats, there ain't no one here after all. But there must be. Because only moments ago we heard those noises. Maybe that was the sound of Drebber running away. But there's only one door to this room. And no windows that could afford an escape route. Those skylights are too high. And yet, what's that up there? Are they footprints on the ceiling? Blow me, what have we here then? Everybody's just not paying attention to the huge sticks of dynamite. Looks like someone was trying to burn something in a hurry. Oh, that looks like a set of blueprints. To what? To Professor Hairbrain's balmy machine is all. Blimey! If we'd had these, there'd have been no need to muck about trying to investigate all that scrap metal. There's something of great interest here, too. This rope was lying on the floor at the foot of that pillar. A rope? What's significant about that? Never mind. You see, but you do not observe, Mr. Naruhodo. Like we could use it to climb out, maybe? We must investigate the entire room thoroughly, and before the forensics team arrives, too. Yes, we must. But I want to go back to the other room first, because I want to have a look up. I haven't been up there yet. We haven't finished poking at everything. To make sure we don't miss anything. Okay, so there was nothing up on the roof. That's all I wanted to double check. Actually, could we even talk to Gregson? No. I mean, thankfully, until we poke that piece of dynamite that Sholmes is now investigating thoroughly, it's probably not going to start ticking down. We'll look at everything else. A very large safe. I don't suppose that even Mr. Sholmes could open that. Although, if you're a thief, you could just steal the entire thing, I suppose. It's bolted to the fort to present exactly that sort of underhanded trick, Mr. Naruhodo. Well, then you could just steal the floor as well, I suppose. I could cut the whole floor away. Checkmate. I'm sorry, but you really aren't making any sense at all. Anyway, I think we can agree that whatever is inside must be very important. That's a really lovely model. It looks just like a real flying balloon. I think it's probably staying aloft in the same principle as a full-size balloon, using gas. A green flying balloon. It does have the hallmarks of the amazing deception at the Great Exhibition, doesn't it? Could it be the whole thing was planned here in this very workshop? Those. Almost every piece of furniture is upside down. Even Mr. Sholmes' suite isn't ever in this much of a mess. You're in no position to comment on mess, Mr. Naruhodo. But I suppose it's not quite the same thing, is it? I mean, it's not messy in here per se, it's that everything is literally upside down. Like it fell from the roof. But why? It does, it looks like everything just fell from the roof. What if this whole room rotates upside down and he had everything there so that it would be like the escape hatch is then the floor, and as he does it he then turns everything upside down afterwards so that they can't be followed? Ooh, probably not. That would be ludicrous. But no, it doesn't look as though there's anything else to poke, so let's poke Sholmes. Mr. Sholmes, have you found something? Mr. Naruhodo, yes, in point of fact, something rather fascinating. What do you make of this? Let's see, I've never seen anything like it before. Oh, looks like a bundle of thick cigars wrapped up... Ah! Miss Susato, what's the matter? That's... Surely that's a time bomb, isn't it? What? Did you say? A time bomb? Sorry, but what is a time bomb? Is that a type of cigar? Hey? You truly are one of a kind, Mr. Naruhodo. I won't take that as a compliment. Ha! You don't know nothing, do you, Odo? You know nothing, Jon Snow. You haven't got a clue what it is either, have you, Gina? I invite you to consult a dictionary later, Mr. Naruhodo. But this particular specimen is no time bomb, though I confess it has a very similar appearance. Oh, so it's a fake. Oh, well, thank goodness. But then, what is it? It's an alarm clock. It only wakes you up once. I see, so that's it. Goodness, Mr. Sholmes. Have you seen to the heart of the matter? There are times when I consider my lot most unfair, for I am fated never to know how it feels to flounder as you do when a puzzle presents itself. Wow, you know how to hurt. But I have learned to accept the hardships that come with being a great detective, Miss Susato. Here we go. A great deduction's coming. Once again, I can draw two conclusions from the scene we see before us. The first is that the inverted nature of the furniture in this room is the work of Drebber himself. But how could you... And the second conclusion is that the small device on the floor there is without question completely genuine. Please, Mr. Sholmes, you must explain everything. It would be a pleasure. You see, what is weird though is that there are some things in this room that are the right way up as well, I think. Like the safe on the floor, bolted to what is the floor. And the stove in the back as well, that's all the right way up. After all, it is a great detective's civic duty to teach Scotland Yard the finer points of the trade. There's that lemon again. Well, Inspector Gregson seems delighted with the idea anyway. Oh, you deflected the inspector's glare with such fortitude there, Mr. Sholmes. Well done. You're too kind, my dear man. I hereby dedicate this great deduction to you. Kindly stand just there, Miss Susato. Oh. Yes, I'd be delighted. So, shall we begin? Once again, Sherlock Sholmes is proud to present his logical and reasoning spectacular. This is going to be rich. Flipped furniture. Well, literally flipped the table. I love how when it zooms in, she morphs into the other uniform from the picture. It's plain to see that this room is in complete disarray. The bed and the tables and the chairs, the lamps, everything is upside down. Almost as if every item in the room had until recently been happily positioned on the ceiling, before falling straight down to the floor. Every item in the room was on the ceiling. Are you suggesting that... Indeed, the key here is gravity. It would appear that technology has at last succeeded in freeing us from the great pull of the Earth. But the gravity in this room was reversed and then suddenly restored to normal. Goodness! The inverted furniture clearly reveals the truth about the part gravity played in this whole business. I quite understand your skepticism, Miss Susato. I too was incredulous at first. However, my conviction in my analysis was cemented when I observed this. An anti-gravity device almost identical to one that featured in the dream of mine I had just the other day, in fact. But why does it have a clock on it? A most relevant question indeed. It's a timing device that controls when the gravity direction will switch. There was clearly a requirement for the engineer to be able to restore normal gravity automatically. And the commotion we heard earlier from the other side of the room was the moment that the restoration occurred. Yes, the reason why everything in here has been turned upside down is because of anti-gravity device. You see, we need look no further to explain the state in which we find this room. The direction in which the gravity acts in here was reversed by Mr. Drebber, before being restored to normality in an automatic fashion sometime later by the timer device. I have witnessed precisely this scene in a dream I once had when I fell out of bed. God. Oh my god, this guy. And the missing engineer. Well, obviously he ran out of the skylight while the gravity was reversed. Let us consider the next conundrum. What was our engineer friend's aim? Indubitably, the greatest clue we have to explain this action is above our heads. How is it possible that there are footprints all the way up on the ceiling? A question whose answer will lead us neatly to the truth, my dear madam. The reason there are footprints on the ceiling is because of the nearby skylight. Of course, Drebber's aim was singular to escape. However, there is but one way into the room, excepting the skylight, that is. Ah. Oh. By inverting the gravity here, Drebber was able to fall completely to the ceiling and make his escape via the otherwise inaccessible skylight, leaving those footprints behind on the way. But the ceiling in here is very high, Mr. Sholmes. If the gravity reversal was sudden, why wouldn't Drebber have fallen up to the ceiling rather violently? Falling up is both scientifically and philosophically a rather interesting concept, I feel. But the man was cornered with nowhere to run, so escape through the skylight was his only option. You may recall that I found in this room earlier, which I believe offers a solution. Oh, the rope. To reach the intended destination, what better tool than the rope? By anchoring one end to the wall, the man was able to lower himself safely to the ceiling. And where did he anchor it exactly? Also, if everything is upside down, and he's saying, oh, he turned on an anti-gravity device to go to the roof so that he could get out of the skylight, then everything would drop back down to the ground. Why is it upside down? It would have been the right way up when he did that, so it would have been upside down on the ceiling, relatively speaking, and then fallen back down to its rightful place, still on its feet. It'd be a bit disheveled. Broken maybe, but maybe even fallen over, but not exactly upside down. So he reversed the pull of gravity and fled via the skylight. And personally, I should very much like to reverse the pull of gravity again now just for fun. No! Don't let him do this! That is a bomb! Oh god. Thus concludes Herlock Sholmes' great deduction of this topsy-turvy puzzle. You're stunned, aren't you, Gregson? Gina doesn't give a shit. She stopped listening ages ago. Susato is totally taken in by this. She's completely spellbound. Mr. Sholmes, there's just one thing that troubles me. I would expect nothing less. You're destined to be troubled by just one thing for the rest of your life. The thing is such a thing actually possible? An anti-gravity device, I mean? I would say that with man's current scientific knowledge at the turn of the 20th century, it is no more possible than an instantaneous kinesis. But your whole deduction hinges on it. Ah, but my dear fellow, when you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains must be the truth, however improbable it may seem. It's a marvellous line, wouldn't you agree? One of my more enduring pearls of wisdom. I had Iris come up with the exact phrasing. My original was clumsy. Yes. I have a feeling I've read it something like that Miss Susato lent me once.
Objection!
Actually, there is one other thing, Mr. Sholmes. The spell broke at last. The rope you found was on the floor, wasn't it? Indeed it was. A lonely coil near the wall. But if Mr. Drebber used it to escape the way you described, wouldn't it still be tied to the wall? Mysteries inevitably unravel in the end, as I think you find do ropes. And as evidence of such, you need only look at the mystery we faced in this room, now skillfully unraveled. That argument is as circular as the coil of rope. I think perhaps we might need to give Mr. Sholmes a little bit of a helping hand. I'm sure with some minor corrections, the great detective's great deduction will lead us to the truth. You're right. He sees half of it, and we must do it quickly before Enoch Drebber gets too far away. The man could be halfway across London by now. If you're ready, then let's resume. Sherlock Sholmes' logical and reasoning spectacular. Correction time. Alright, so the room is in disarray. The bed tables and chairs and the lamps, everything is upside down. Every item until the room had been happily positioned on the ceiling before falling straight to the floor. Key here. Gravity. Okay. It was reversed and restored to normality. The inverted furniture clearly reveals the truth. I think gravity could have been reversed in this very room. I find the whole idea utterly enthralling. Only Mr. Sholmes could conceive of such an explanation. Yes, only he could. The man himself admitted it's a scientific impossibility, so... You're quite right, we must completely discount the idea at once. Oh, that's unusually merciless of you, Miss Susato. When you've eliminated the impossible, whatever remains must be the truth. The great detective himself said so, didn't he? While refusing to part with his dream of anti-gravity devices. Yes, I suppose so. Let's see if examining the topsy-turvy scene a little more closely reveals some more proof that shows exactly what the gravity in this room was or wasn't doing. Yeah, because, look, there's something that wasn't turned over. Well, well, I wasn't expecting to find a pretty bunch of flowers in here, that's for sure. Look at that! I know, that slender little vase looks like it's about to topple at any moment, but the flowers are thriving. Somehow it makes you think of the fragility of life, wouldn't you say? Well, that, and, to be honest, Mr. Naruhodo, something else about it made a rather deeper impression on me. The fact that it's not smashed to shit, and that it's the right way up. Like it's the only thing in this room that didn't look like it was made to fall over, that isn't fixed to the ground. Everything else that is fixed is the right way up. But that isn't, so that is the problem. The upright vase clearly reveals the truth about the part gravity played in this whole business. It didn't. Upon my word, Mr. Naruhodo, you've surpassed yourself by completely turning my argument on its head. Like I was, oh, what? Me now? Trying to impress your assistant here, perhaps? No one is trying to steal your spotlight here, Mr. Sholmes, trust me. As you rightly say, though it appears at first glance that all the furniture in the room was upside down, this unassuming slender vase is standing keenly to attention. And unlike the large safe, there is nothing affixing it to the floor. And it's the exception that breaks the rule. In short, much as it pains me, the gravity in this room was never inverted at all. My deepest sympathies for your loss. Oh, poor Mr. Sholmes. And recovered! But the show must go on, so let us conclude with our deductions. Now that we know this contrivance is not in fact an anti-gravity device, there remains but one other possibility. You don't say. It is an anti-gravity device in a sense. It will send everything in this room flying up into the air. And it will come back down again, but it will all be in pieces, as will we. Somebody deliberately turned over every piece of furniture in here, hoping that a dunderhead would be stupid enough to think that it was actually the reason why everything was on the roof and turn it on and blow themselves up. Which might sound obvious, but leaves one mystery very much unresolved. Namely, why would anyone choose to do that? Quite, and naturally there is an explanation. Yes, the reason why everything in here has been turned upside down is because of this anti-gravity device. And again, we're back to that. He's determined this device must have something to do with it. I'm afraid the lure of an exciting scientific explanation is too strong. There's no doubt somebody did this. Somebody turned all the furniture over. Whoever it was must have had a reason. I'm afraid nothing comes to mind at all, though. Well, let's look around and see if the answer presents itself. I think he's still here in this room. I think he's, like, underneath a hatch or something in the ground, and this was all made to make it look like he'd escaped through the roof. Alright. The reason why everything has been turned upside down. The fuck? He wrote the safe combination on the underside of a chair. Something written on the underside of the armchair. Oh yes, safe. 432582. Safe? As in safe and secure? As in secure lockable box, I think. Admittedly, more likely. Well, there's a large safe bolted to the other floor in the room, so yes. You mean this number would let us open it? I wonder why it's written here, though. See anything else? It only lets me swivel that and there.
Take that!
So that's got to be it. Maybe it was done intentionally as a trap. We open that safe, and it's a trap. The reason why everything in here has been turned upside down is because of the safe combination. Precisely. I believe, Mr. Naruhodo, you have a very similar experience once, did you not? Yes, last year, when I bought a lottery ticket and noted the ticket number down on the inside cover of a book just in case. That's it. The people are forgetful souls at heart and always make a written note of important information. Just keeping the ticket itself safe would be more sensible, I think. And what, pray, happened next, Mr. Naruhodo? When the day of the draw came around, I'd forgotten which book I'd written the number in and had to turn my room upside down to find it. That's it, for people are forgetful souls at heart and always forget where they've noted things down. Not if you always note things down in the same place. Say Susato with the Book of Many Things. That is just like, everything's in the one book, you'll never forget the book. Actually, I won the second prize, you know. But I couldn't remember which magazine I'd slipped the ticket into, so thank you, Mr. Naruhodo, but I believe I've proved my point now. Which is a very similar scenario as clearly unfolded in this room. He forgot which piece of furniture he wrote safe combination on. Finding himself requiring access to the safe, the occupant of the room needed the combination code. He remembered that he'd written it on the underside of a piece of furniture but forgot which one, leading to the state in which we now find the room. Yes, Mr. Drebber overturned all of the furniture in here in a desperate hurry to locate the combination code that would unlock the safe. Escape via the skylight. What if he escaped via the safe and it's actually a door into another room? Now let us consider the next conundrum. What was our engineer friend's aim? The greatest clue we have to explain this action is above our heads. Yeah, that's a false lead. How is it possible there are footprints all the way on the ceiling? They will lead us neatly to the truth. It's because of the skylight. Well, if a change in the direction of gravity can't explain it, then how did the footprints get there? I feel as though that particular mystery has just become harder to solve. I can't think of any other way to explain it at all. Life was so much simpler in those halcyon days when gravity could be reversed. Yeah, when we could just make up any shit we wanted, and, you know, this was easy. It was minutes ago, and those halcyon days never existed in the first place. They were a lie. Let them go. Well, I suppose we must simply put our faith in Mr. Sholmes and observe the area in more detail. Putting our faith in Mr. Sholmes is what gets us into these situations. Having no faith in him is why we're doing this. So why are there... Oh. What the fuck? What is this? What is the point of this? It's hard to believe, but there's a shoe up there, look. Oh yes! And there are more footprints on this little balloon too. Perhaps the shoe was thrown up there and became lodged, do you think? If so, then judging from the number of footprints, it must have been thrown up several times. Why would anyone be throwing shoes at the ceiling though? Oh dear, that's beyond me, I'm afraid. Was he trying to, like, knock the balloon away and have it come down?
Take that!
The reason there are footprints on the ceiling is because of a nearby shoe. And on closer inspection there are clearly prints all over the balloon as well. In other words, the aim was never the skylight at all, but the balloon. But also, for what purpose? The green balloon, that seems somewhat familiar data. Ah! It was a piece of green balloon's envelope that Mr. Naruhodo and Iris found at the scene. And inside the green balloon that Master Gotts claims he saw above the stage when the incident occurred was the second birdcage, the crux of the whole instantaneous kinesis deception. You mean to say, if we assume the balloon in here is a model of the one that was used on that day, there is a strong possibility that something may be concealed inside of it. Something our absconder was desperate to retrieve before making a hasty getaway. But the balloon is out of reach, hence why he resorted to a projectile, namely the shoe. Ah. Most probably, Drebber intended to tear a hole in the envelope by assailing it with a shoe. However, his efforts were thwarted when the shoe itself became a prisoner of the lofty heights. Oh dear, we desperately need to examine that balloon. If only there was some way we could see inside it. You may recall that I found this in the room earlier, which I believe offers a solution. Yeah, I was just thinking the rope could be used to lasso it down. To reach the intended destination, what better tool than this rope? Well, he's brought the deduction to the rope. Alright, I have to admit that was clever. We just throw the rope up to the balloon and pull it down to us on the ground. Which is easier said than done, I feel. And could take us a very long time indeed. Yeah, it's not exactly like it's going to be easy to get the rope around. You need a hook or something to hook it onto the basket and pull it down. Perhaps we need more surefire methods. In fact, we already have one, of course, don't we? A crossbow!
Take that!
Which he didn't have because he dropped it at the scene. But the arrows were also in the room where we were, so he couldn't have come through to get them. To reach the intended destination, what better tool than the crossbow? That was found at the scene, in fact, and in all likelihood belongs to Mr. Drebber. If the man had only brought it away with him that day, could have avoided the losing a shoe at such a critical time like this. I say we shoot the balloon down. Oh, shall we? Your curiosity is deeply stirred, no doubt, my dear fellows. What is it that Enoch Drebber has hidden inside of that balloon? Candy! Oh, it's the head! What the? Why would that even be in there? It's the waxwork head of the hanged guy. Why would that be in there? I don't get it. You would think he would have made a scale model of the balloon to put a scale model of the birdcage in to see if everything works properly. I am thoroughly confused now. A waxwork? Indeed it is. A waxwork head inside the metal mask. A mask that is shut tight and fastened with strong and quite impenetrable locks. But we can't see the face inside, that means. Maybe the Yards guys can open it. Just a moment. This is the head of the waxwork model? Does that mean... Oh goodness. I see you've joined the dots, Miss Susato. Excellent. Yeah, Drebber obviously stole the thing. Welcome to my conclusion like an hour ago. Of course, a headless waxwork model. The case of the abducted Madame Tuspel's model that you largely solved. It was only the head of the killer that was missing. Indeed it was. But I believe Madame Tuspel's will now have to settle her sizable account with me. Yes, Iris can eat! This, as you have now surmised, is the head of the infamous professor. Yes. But why is it here? This conclusively confirms my suspicions. The man responsible for stealing the professor from Madame Tuspel's and returning it earlier today was none other than Enoch Drebber. This is incredible. Professor Harebrain's case and the waxwork abduction are inexorably linked by Enoch Drebber's workshop. Well, it appears our logical pleasure cruise has come to an end, my dear fellows. All that remains is, yes, to speak with the architect of this adventure. The architect? You mean Mr. Drebber? As it seems quite impossible that he escaped via one of the skylights, obviously the man must still be here in this room. What? And his location should be abundantly clear. He's in the safe. If you simply reflect on the journey we've made during the deduction, Enoch Drebber is right here somewhere in this room. But Mr. Naruhodo, will you do the honors? Yes, of course. Mr. Drebber's hiding place must be... safe.
Take that!
You think he would have flipped all the furniture back over again, though? Before we gained access to the back of the room, we heard noises from in here, which tells us the engineer was still in the building at that point in time. He was in fact searching for the combination to his safe, and pressed for time made no attempt to right the furniture he overturned in the process, from which we can deduce that his search for the combination happened very recently indeed. In summary, Mr. Enoch Drebber is at this very moment inside the safe. Thus concludes Herlock Sholmes' great deduction of this topsy-turvy puzzle. Also, you can see that the bar for the safe isn't even across, so it's not even locked. Nice. Oh, Mr. Naruhodo. I think perhaps it's time we ended this game of hide and seek, don't you? By opening the safe, you mean? What else? Let's see, the combination was let's see. She's like 432582. I knew that. And I could always look over there and find out again if I wanted to, but I knew it. Alright, here goes. Well, hello there. Little cramped. Found me. God, he's a mime. He's a breakdancing mime. The worst combination of things. The fuck? Right then, sir. Mr. Enoch Drebber, I presume? Correct. You better start talking. You tricked Professor Hairbrain with a bogus machine that you built. And you shall have to explain your theft of the waxwork from Madame Tuspel's as well. Whilst I would be delighted to answer your many questions. Personally, I would advise you deactivate my little parcel first. Deactivate? The parcel? I refer, of course, to the time bomb. I left it in a most prominent position. Yes. Ha ha ha. I see. Stunned silence. You're all gearing up to die with me then. Nope, nope, nope. Dying is not a thing we want to do. We will do that another day, not today. Mr. Sholmes, with only 7 seconds to spare. That was too close for comfort. I've got one foot in the grave already. Are you trying to help get us killed or get us a killer or get us killed? Mr. Sholmes' deductions can be completely life-altering, can't they? And a little time-consuming. Well, my dear fellows, that was a close shave. The resemblance to an anti-gravity device is really quite startling, I must say. Anti-gravity devices don't exist. I wouldn't push it, Mr. Sholmes. Wow, look at this guy. Is that actually a robot arm, or is it just the glove that he has? It might be just the glove, but damn. This guy's all kinds of crazy. So guys, we're gonna dig deeper into this guy on the next stream because, oh my goodness, yeah.